talk to old people. Ladies and gentlemen, we gotta remember to talk to old people. We gotta remember it. What's funny is right now I'm surrounded by kids at the park. Isn't that funny how life works sometimes? I was about to film this and then it was recess time. That's how it works sometimes. But we gotta talk to old people. Let's go back to school. Let's say you're in school still. But let's say the smartest kid in class, they just finished up a test in the hardest subject, physics class, math class, biology, humanities, whatever is hard to you. Let's say they just finished it. And it wasn't cheating if they showed you their answers. 10 times out of 10, we're gonna look at the answers. And that's what old people are, is they're 2, 3, 4, 5 steps ahead. They're already ahead in life. The thing is we don't have all the answers, but old people have already seen the questions to the test. And they want to help. They always want to help. Whatever it is if you say, oh, hi, how are you doing, Mr. So-and-so? For whatever reason, is they want to tell you about life and how it's affected them, and they want to pass it on. That's kind of like the deal. Old people want people to talk to. Younger people want mentors. I've got some like white on my chin, so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a spring chicken anymore. But that is the deal of life, is old people really want people to talk to. And we're looking for the answers. And again, we may not get the answers from them, but at least we'll see the questions on the test. And they do help us out with that. So do a little, I wouldn't call it cheating, just do a little extra prep. Even the smartest kids in class, I remember Brian and Kevin and all of them, it's like we would still compare answers to homework and stuff. We don't just hand it in. We go, oh, okay, what's the other smart person or whatever doing? They were smarter than me. But I think it's important. You know what we hear from old people a lot? Regret. That's probably the one thing I've learned most consistently across everybody, is the regret for the things they haven't done in their life. So when you start hearing things, it becomes a theme, and you go, oh, I better do this thing that I've been thinking about. Oh, I better talk to this girl. I better call this person. This regret becomes a real thing later in life, and you can see it haunt people like a specter. But old people are cool. I know we don't give them enough credit, but they're pretty cool. They really are. They're cooler than most of us. We're kind of cooked as generations. We don't have a lot of experiences anymore that are singular. We kind of live in the matrix. But we can break out of it. We just got to be mindful about it, man. One of my favorite older people I know, Jeff, he owns a music shop. I'm not gonna, if you know Jeff, you know Jeff. And I go, hey Jeff, how you doing? It's pretty good, man. He loves to get into his stories. And he's got some crazy stories. He's got some interesting stories. You know, he once was at Herbie Hancock's house for Thanksgiving, and he did heroin by accident. He was trying to ski on the slopes, if you know what I mean. He tried to go skiing, and instead he went sledding. It happens. Why was he at Herbie's house for Thanksgiving? I don't know. I don't ask those questions. That's not the question I want to ask him. He almost got arrested at Chuck Berry's house in St. Louis, so he had to hide in the attic. He was hitchhiking back across the states. You know, he met one of the Beatles. I'm not going to say which one, George Harrison. And, he plays the sitar, and George is like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. And he had some things to say about George. I won't repeat them here. But those are like some of the things that you can hear from old people that's interesting. And I've learned a lot. I mean, those are stories, but I've learned a lot about him. He's an artist, he's a musician, just about art itself. And really the biggest thing is the best artists are those who are themselves. They just are being themselves. So whatever way we figure it out, we gotta be ourselves. I don't know what we need to do to shed all this other shit in our life, but you really got to figure out who you are and be yourself. So I love hearing his stories, but I also like hearing what he says makes a great artist. Again, he's seen the questions in the game of life. And then even some of the other stuff, it's like, my building, I live in a walk-up, and there's a bunch of older women who live in my building. And especially when it's nice, they're out, they'll sit on the stoop. I call them the Stoop Sisters. And man, I've learned more about women from all of them than anyone else in my life. My dad didn't really teach me about women. He just played the James Bond movies in a row. And he said, good luck, son. But these women are like, I'll sit down, I'll talk to them. I'll be like, how's it going? They just talk. I say, what happened in your last relationship? Sometimes they passed away, sometimes it didn't work out. But whatever the story is, I always get something out of it, and so do they. Whatever it is, especially if you live in a city like New York, but it's really anywhere, you got to make the attempt. You got to reach out. That's probably the hardest thing, is starting the conversation. Because old people like to talk, but you have to ask. You have to say, hey, how are you doing? And they're always willing to help. So that's really what I wanted to say today, is just talk to old people. They'll be your mentors in life because they see you as them when they were younger. Try it out. There's no harm. They're fun. You might make a new friend in the process. And that's it. Talk to old people.